You might wonder, why am I paying so much for closing costs while buying or selling a house? In today's video, I'm going to break down for you exactly in detail what is it you're paying for your closing costs as a buyer and as a seller, because guess what? Buyer and seller, they have two different closing costs, and it's thousands of dollars. Welcome back to my channel. For those who doesn't know me yet, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Raja Tayyeb, broker owner of Fit Realty Services, 15 years and counting. The purpose of our channel is to educate you on any real estate topics. If you're looking for real estate related information, subscribe here, and let's go straight into the video about closing costs. So the question I get all the times, if is it from a buyer or a seller, Raja, why am I paying so much in closing costs? Because here in New York City, it's literally $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in some cases, right? So I want to educate you today, what is it you're paying it for? So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, you can go into a transaction much more educated. So we'll divide it into two parts. Number one, we'll break down the sellers first. The seller's closing cost is much less complex. It's more money, but it's less complex. So we'll break down the seller's closing costs first. I'm going to use a real example from one of our past sales over here in Queens. We're basically going to look at a seller that had sold a property. He sold it for $679,000, okay? I'm going to show you here also a CD, which is something we call a closing disclosure, which the bank attorney has to provide 3 days before the closing to show to the buyer and the seller that all the fees are on point. There's no discrepancy, okay? So closing disclosure, this particular seller had sold the property for $679,000. The first thing you're gonna pay off at the closing as a seller, it's gonna be your loan amount. So let's say you had owned the property for many years, but you still owe on the property mortgage. In this particular case, this homeowner here had owe on the property, $329,160.90. So he sold it for $679,000, but he still had a high mortgage, $329,160.90. Pay off, that goes back to the bank, right? Second thing he's gonna pay is something called a transfer tax. And we break down the transfer tax into New York City and New York State. New York City transfer tax is 1.425% of the sales price if you sell a property over $500,000. So in this case, he's selling it for $679,000. So it's going to be 1.425% for New York City and 0.4% for the state. So when we combine it, it's 1.825%. And in this case scenario, which you can see over here on the closing disclosure, it was $12,391.75, right? So that's item number 2. Item number 3, he's going to pay the brokers, right? So even though the money is coming from the buyer is the one who's coming to the closing table with the money. He's bringing the down payment, and the bank is wiring the rest of the money. The seller is the one who pays the commission from the proceeds. So in this case scenario, I believe he paid 4% total commission. It was 2 different brokers, so it's divided 2% per each broker. So each broker took home $13,580, right? So that's item number 3, right? Next, you're gonna have some prepaids. So what happens is, for instance, in this case scenario, this homeowner had unpaid balance on the water bill. So what happens, the teller company, a couple of days before the closing, they do the final reading of the water. They want to make sure the homeowner does not owe any money. In this particular case, the homeowner had an unpaid balance of $500 for the water bill. So what happens is, he will have to credit the buyer for it. Or in other words, it's going to be paid, right? Third item, a seller in New York City here, they pay a seller's disclosure, right? So they won't have to disclose the condition of the property, and for that, they will give seller's disclosure credit, which is $500, right? That's a 5th item. And I think that's pretty much it on this particular seller, right? So just to recap, as a seller, it's very simple, right? If you have a mortgage, you have to pay it off. You're gonna pay back the bank. You're gonna have a brokers, you're gonna have to cover those. You're gonna pay your transfer taxes, which is one of the higher ends, 1.825%. Then you have any unpaid bills as taxes and water bill, that's gonna have to be taken care of, okay? So that's your seller closing cost. Now let's move to a buyer's closing cost side, which is much more complex than the sellers, right? The seller's closing cost was literally 5 items. Very easy to calculate. The buyer's closing cost is much more complex. And when we have a first-time home buyer buying a property, they do not anticipate initially they'll have to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in closing costs, and sometimes they're shocked. So I'm creating this video for you guys to really be super clear. What's a closing cost? What is it you're paying for? Okay, so the buyer's closing cost is divided into several parts. The first part is the loan cost, right? So if you're financing the property, you're gonna have a bank fees, loan costs, right? Which is gonna be your origination fees, that's gonna be a processing fee, that's gonna be your underwriting fee, then you're gonna have all your title fees, right? You're gonna have a title lender policy, you're gonna have all the different searches and recordings done by the title company, and you're gonna have to purchase the policy because look, if you're buying a car, right, you will have an insurance. You won't take a risk buying a car and not having an insurance. Same thing if you own a property. It's most probably the single biggest investment of people out there buying a property. So you do need to have a title insurance policy. So I'll break it down for you in numbers, okay? So a processing fee, it's gonna be about $694. You've got underwriting fee about $200. So that's gonna wrap up the origination fee of $894. Then you've got services borrower did not shop for. They're gonna be an appraisal fee that's about, on this particular case, I'm sharing with you a closing disclosure from one of our recent deals. I want to show you something really accurate. I don't want to just talk in the air. I want to show you something that actually a real closing disclosure, closing cost. So this particular purchaser had purchased a 2-family home and the appraisal cost was $750. You had a credit report fee of $29.72. You had a flood certification fee of $8, operating income statement of $150, and tax service fee of $75. Services borrower did shop for, right? Number one is going to be a lender's title insurance, $519. Another one, you're going to have a closing fee. You're going to have a bank attorney who's going to prepare the paperwork, who's going to close the file on the closing, and they charge the attorney. So their fee is about, in this case, $1,350. You'll have your title search fee, which is $979.34. You'll have your title services, $722. That's gonna give you a total of, so far, $5,474. That's the first part. We got 2 more parts to go. Again, I know it's a lot, but I really want to show you item by item to know what is it that you're paying these $20,000, $30,000 for, okay? Second part, you're gonna have your biggest chunk, which is a state mortgage tax. Remember the seller, he was paying that 1.825% for the transfer taxes? You as a buyer, you're gonna pay something called a mortgage tax, and it's very similar to it. It's almost 1.8, 1.9%. So in this case scenario, the loan amount was about $420,000. You're gonna pay $7,530 for your state mortgage tax. You're gonna have small recording fees, the deed and the mortgage has to be recorded, $50 a piece, $100. So that's gonna bring another part, that's the tax and other government fees, to $7,630. Third part, you're gonna have your prepaids, right? You need to have a homeowner's insurance. So before you get to the closing table, and if you're financing, the bank wants to make sure you have a homeowner's insurance in place. This particular purchaser paid $1,831. We've got a prepaid interest. So let's say, in this case scenario, you closed on May 3rd. You will prepay your interest through June 1st. That's $51 a day. That's going to cost you about $1,500, right? So you won't have a monthly payment to the following month, but you will pay your interest for those days you own the property. Next, you're going to prepay your taxes, and you're going to prepay insurance, something that we call an initial escrow payment. You've got to understand, the bank co-own the property with you. They're not going to play around with it. They want to have insurance, initial prepaid insurance in place, and want to have taxes in place. Just in the event that it has to be covered, there's an escrow we can go to. You're going to have your owner's title insurance. That's $3,326, and you're going to have a small title closer fee. So I know it's a lot of items, but I really wanted to break it out for you. So that's going to give you at this part a total of $18,543.89. Now your total closing cost of a loan of $420,000, it's about $24,014.84, right? So here you have it in a nutshell. As a buyer, you're gonna have many more items, right? You're gonna have the loan cost, you're gonna have your title cost, you're gonna have your prepaid insurance and prepaid taxes, you're gonna have your escrow, and you're gonna have a small recording fees, which your attorney's fees as well, right? As a seller, it's much more simpler. You've got your brokers, you've got your payoff to the bank that you still owe the loan amount to, and then you're gonna have your transfer taxes to the state. So here you have it in a nutshell. I know it was a lot, but I really want to share with you because it's one of the most common questions I get from a first-time home buyers. Roger, why am I paying so much? $20,000, $30,000 for closing costs? I did not anticipate it. Right now I have to go and save up more money or come up with more money. So that's pretty much it for this video. I decided to make 2 more videos. One where I'm educating you on the difference of buying a single family versus a multifamily. Big dilemma. Do I buy a single family as a first-time home buyer, or do I go straight for a multifamily? So one video, and second video, how can you yourself in less than 10 minutes calculate your own monthly payments? Don't forget to check those out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're looking for more real estate related content. Thank you very much for checking it out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.